Alright, what's going on, guys? We are now coming up on a week since Armored Core 6 was released, and in classic FromSoftware fashion, this is an extremely detailed game, requiring 3 full playthroughs to even do all of the main content. And so what that means is it's going to be filled to the brim in secrets. So today I want to do some hunting, and show you 8 things that you probably didn't know about Armored Core 6. And I'm going to try to keep the spoilers light, only including things from the first few chapters in New Game and New Game Plus, at least until the last one because it's way too cool not to talk about. But before we get started, if you enjoy all things FromSoftware and want to stay up to date on the news, dive into the lore of these games, and just be involved with the general discussion, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and now let's get into it. To begin, let's talk about AC movement. One of the main abilities of our Armored Core is the Assault Boost, the ability to shoot straight forward at rapid speeds, like a rocket, and close the distance between you and your opponent or cross a large gap. Now the Assault Boost does have the ability to dodge side to side, but arguably it's a little bit unresponsive and tends to get out of control fairly easily. But did you know there's actually a hidden perk that you can add to your Assault Boost to give it much more control and add an extra layer of maneuverability to your AC? And man, I wish I knew about it on my first playthrough. In your OS tuning menu, one of the upgrades you can buy is the Quick Turn, that allows your AC to automatically turn 90 degrees by holding the boost button and looking in another direction. I didn't use it a whole lot during my playthrough, but I had no idea you could do this during an Assault Boost. It takes a bit of practice, but once you get the hang of it, you're going to be much more agile and able to escape some sticky situations much better. The best way to do this is to activate the Assault Boost and then completely let go of your left stick. The Assault Boost will keep going. Then hold down the button that works your boosters and simply click your left stick in the direction you want to turn. I highly recommend practicing this technique and giving it a few tries, because even if you don't tend to use the Quick Turn, this one is incredibly useful and will probably save your life. Next up, I want to talk about the Plasma Thrower, a melee weapon you can get a little bit later in the game. It's a whip style weapon that scatters little plasma nades around the area and is good at taking out large groups of fodder enemies. But the weapon begins its attack in a spinning motion that actually has a hidden ability. Did you know that if you hold down the spinning of the Plasma Thrower, it actually acts as a shield and can deflect projectiles? And I thought this was super cool after it was discovered, but there's actually a problem. As a shield, it may be one of the worst in the entire game, because even though it looks like it's deflecting every round, I'm still taking quite a bit of damage while blocking. And even without using the shield, my AC still ricochets most small rounds. So I had to find a time when the Plasma Thrower's shield was actually useful. Loading into the Balaam Arsenal mission, I figured let's try Plasma against Plasma. You can see that these Plasma snipers deal 878 damage against my AC, and that's stationary without blocking. However, when using the Plasma Thrower's shield, the shot actually bounces off my AC and is misdirected, and that damage is reduced from 878 to 527. So not the most useful thing in the world, but you never really know when a little bit of defense like that can come in handy, especially when this is mainly a melee weapon and blocking is definitely not its intended purpose. But now let's switch gears for a minute and talk about lore, because for me personally, the story of Armored Core 6 was one of my favorite parts of all of it. But the way that story is presented in the Armored Core games is very interesting, and it does something that not a lot of other games do, where we never actually see any characters, at least face to face. Everything is told through the use of machinery, and that's mainly to nail down the theme that the corporations in the overall story don't actually care about the humans. It's the very brutalist presentation, but if you go deep enough to uncover the secrets in this game, you can find scannable AC wreckage throughout the levels that grant you bits of lore entries to go back in your archive in the garage. But the interesting thing is that some of these entries are drawings, and may be the only time in the whole game where we actually see what our characters look like. And they come from a series called STV Sketches, done by a masked battlefield artist who died in the fires of Ibis. Now we're still trying to figure out all the lore in this game, so we can't say for certain who all the characters in the drawings are, but there's one in particular that I found to be interesting. This one is called STK Sketch and was done by an AI trying to mimic the artist after his death. It depicts a professor, 2 assistants, and a boy. Assistant 1's heading for a breakdown, and the boy is sharper than he looks. Now this drawing lines up with another lore tab. Professor Nagai's log 5 reads, "There is no averting the ruin that awaits both the Institute and Rubicon itself. I must now concern myself with what follows. The data shows signs of wave mutation. Observation must continue. Assistant number 2 is our only remaining hope. Though it pains me, I have no choice but to pass the legacy of our sins onto her, my own student." So I think it's safe to assume here that the woman in the picture is this assistant, and the only character in the lore that we know about who has vast knowledge on Coral and the Institute and is also a survivor of the fires of Ibis is Cinder Carla.
One more thing, Raven. Cinder. Carla's nickname? That's what the Rubiconians call survivors of the fires of Ibis. But if the fires happened half a century ago... well, it could just be some Dozer inside joke.
There's another lore mystery here about age, as Walter was also insinuated to be part of the Institute alongside Carla, and in the story trailer we can see the shadow of Walter, and he's walking using a cane. So is he also in the drawing? I'm not sure, but that'll be tackled in the next video. But Carla is the only one I can say is almost certainly able to be identified. But let me know your thoughts about that down in the comment section below, and who do you think the other characters in the drawings might be? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Next up is a cool little piece of trivia. The cover boy of the game is the AC Nightfall, who's mainly comprised of standard parts, but has a very unique looking head unit. And in all the trailers and in the cutscenes we see Nightfall, it always shows off the visor flipping down. Well, this helmet is actually obtainable for the player, and once you get it, you may notice that it doesn't actually have that same visor, which may kind of ruin the style for some. But this helmet has a secret. If you go into combat, activate target lock, and then go into photo mode, then you can see that the helmet has changed and the visor is now down. Now unfortunately, photo mode is the only time you're going to see this, so if you want to get some pictures of it, make sure you have your target lock on. Next, I want to talk about 2 AC fights that are easily missed that you'll need if you want to complete your combat logs. The first is in the mission Infiltrate Grid 086. Once you get past the first checkpoint and after the room where you can find the first secret part, make your way into the room with the lava and take out the enemies nearby. One thing you may not have known about this room is that you can actually go in the pipes. You'll take a little bit of damage from the lava, but there's a missable lore entry here. However, it's the other pipe you really want to check out. It'll take you down a path into another room with a chest that contains a secret part. But on your way to that chest, make sure and pop your scan pulse, because lurking behind the corner is an AC ambush. This is Nosaak and the AC Bitter Promise. It's not a very hard fight, but the tight corridors make it pretty hard to land a lot of shots. But it is required to complete your combat logs, and I'm sure the majority of players probably miss this one their first time around. Next up, we need to talk about one of the only stealth missions in the entire game. Your objective here is to assassinate V2 Swinburne. After you make your way all through the town without getting spotted, you have a chance to land some high damage while he's unaware. Like the last AC we talked about, he's not the most difficult fight, but once he runs out of repair kits, he'll start begging you to spare him. Now on my first playthrough, I killed him without a second thought, but if you stop attacking, surprisingly you do have the option to spare him, and this unlocks a secret interaction, one that you'll have to do to complete your combat log. Sparing Swinburne unlocks a fight with Rokumonsen, and I found this guy to be much harder, so it's important to manage your health and ammo when fighting Swinburne, because essentially this is 2 AC fights back to back. Now even though Swinburne tells you that he'll pay you big time if you spare him, unfortunately it does give you a penalty. But regardless, make sure you don't miss it in one of your playthroughs because it is required for the combat log. This one's going to be for all the people out there that like to go on challenge runs. If you sortie into a mission without any weapons, your AC will be going bare knuckle. And you may think at first, well, punching is probably the absolute worst thing to do. But surprisingly, there are ways you can trick out your AC to get the absolute most out of it. Punching damage is seen through a hidden stat called melee specialization, and every arm piece has their own respective variable for that. Now the arms that I found to have the most that I had unlocked were the AAJ123 Basho, and these are putting out about 897 damage per punch, compared to the lightest arms I could find, which only did about 128. But there's actually something else you want to consider whenever building your punching build, and that surprisingly is your boosters, because they have a hidden stat called melee attack thrust, and this controls the lunge that your character does whenever they do a punch. And this is a substantial thing to consider, because the difference is big. An AC with low melee attack thrust will do a very short and very slow lunge, while one with high will basically go flying at their target. Now, punching is actually very viable against enemy ACs, as you can almost infinitely stagger them, so if you ever want to tear up the arena with a Mike Tyson build, or torture yourself with a punch-only run of the campaign, keep this in mind. For the final one today, we are going to be diving into a bit of spoiler territory, so if you don't want to be spoiled on in-game weapons, then go ahead and skip ahead. But in the event that you've made it to New Game Plus 2, you'll be able to get your hands on some extremely powerful weapons that use the power of Coral, and they all have the tagline, manipulates Coral Swarm Intelligence. But have you ever taken a close listen to what these weapons actually sound like when you use them? I'll give you a few examples. Now maybe I'm just crazy, but every time I hear these weapons fire, it almost sounds like a bit of screaming or voices on the inside. And considering that coral itself is a sort of sentient energy with voices, then I think that would be thematically appropriate. It may just be the sound of highly concentrated energy being fired, but it's much more resonant than all the other plasma weapons, and I really can't unhear it. Anyways though guys, those are 8 secrets that I bet you probably didn't know about Armored Core 6. I hope I showed you something new, and if I did, let me know by leaving a like on the video. And if you're new around here, be sure to subscribe. I've got a lot of Armored Core lore videos planned, the first of which is going to be covering Handler Walter's story. So I hope you'll look forward to that. But y'all let me know all your thoughts down in the comments section below, and with all that, I will catch you in the next one.